Hello everybody and welcome to ReZero Season 2 Episode 10 Anime Review. This week's episode, Subaru finally got his arse a little bit in gear. He's finally started being a bit more proactive as opposed to just dead, really. He's finally sort of got it together. I guess we also saw Satella. That was sort of a big thing. She was there for a bit. That was also a thing that happened. There was a lot of stuff going on throughout this. We learned some things. We got our boys all prepared to do things. It's kicking off. It sucks that we're going to have to, we're splitting at some point soon, to splitting half the season later on. But, hey, this episode was good, so I feel like it's a recurring theme, me saying this episode was good, but hey, the episode was good. What can I do? Anyway, let's crack on with the episode, see how everything went down, and do this thing. We begin where we picked off last week with Satella just causing a load of mischief. Mischief, that's what she was doing, yeah, mischief. In case you were keeping count, they didn't play the opening again this week. I think they played it 3 times out of 10, so, yeah, one of them was as a credit, so really it's only 2 times out of 10. Why do they even bother, why do they even bother? But anyway, Satella's chasing the boys. The boys, of course, being Subaru and Garfield. Garfield reveals that, hey, everyone else has already been got, basically. Oh, I completely forgot about this. This one's on me. We'll get back to that in a minute. So last week in the final part of the episode, the post-credit scene with Roswell, he says, make sure next time you do a good job. So he knows about Return by Death. I must have completely blanked out and missed that last week, but I paid attention when I rewatched it. So yeah, that's the thing that happened. So it's kind of crazy. But back to this week's episode. Yeah, everyone else is dead pretty much. They got eaten by the shadow. Garfield would have been got too if Ram hadn't saved him. So good job, Ram. You saved a person. Then a loads of Ryuzu show up. Ryuzu is the small girl, by the way. Yeah, a load of them show up. That's kind of weird. What's up with that? Garfield doesn't have any... he's not going to give him the answers, but he says, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to charge through with numbers. Garfield transforms to fight the witch. All of the Ryuzu's kamikaze. Garfield gets torn apart. Their plan doesn't work. It wasn't a very good plan. It didn't work, basically. Lots of Aishiteru from Satella, a lot of that. And then Subaru says, you're the worst. I don't like you. I like the other witches more than you, basically. I'd be better off with one of them. And then she's like, that's not okay. Swallows him up. And then it's sort of my notes say drug trip. It's a pretty weird part. We later learn it's Subaru getting the memories of everybody else that was swallowed by the shadow, it turns out. But at the time, didn't know that. So the handkerchief, remember the handkerchief that Echidna, blessed, I guess, turns into a knife, which he uses to stab himself to return by death, obviously. So that's a thing that happens. It's kind of didn't see it because Subaru was like, damn it, that damn Echidna knew this would happen. So he sort of knew that she would interfere, old Satella. So she made a contingency so Subaru could get out of it. Stabs himself. As he stabs himself, Satella cries. Her hood comes off. I think he yanks it off. She looks vaguely familiar. I think we'll all agree. And then he says, I swear I'll save you, which is what he said in the very beginning to Amelia. And it's like, no, Subaru, you shouldn't be saving this one. This one's a bad one. They're not all good. This one's bad. He wakes up after the trial. He's returned by death, as you know. He's shaking. He's very scared because of Amelia. And Amelia looks a bit like her. And, that's the one thing he's not happy. He's not proud about that. She asks what's up with him. And then he cries a lot, basically. As Subaru tends to do in these instances. Lots of tears. She's happy. She got to see his weaker side and everything. There's a bit of banter with Ram there being... insulting. They also had a good line. It's like, that's just how she shows she cares. And she just glares at Otto. And he just flinches in terror, I guess is a good way of putting it. Garfield was staring intently at Subaru, but then acts really friendly. Overly friendly. Because obviously he could smell the witch's scent on him. But then decided to just be friendly. This is the best start he's had to a thing. He knows stuff. Amelia's confident, happy, and all that. Because, she saw his weak side. Everything is coming up Subaru this time, it turns out. Subaru asks Ram, hey, can you distract Garfield? Because I'm going to do a thing that he's probably going to kill me if he catches me doing. She's like, okay, you owe me 10 favors, basically. And that's when we learn that in the shadows of, what's her name? My brain's farting. Satella, like Nutella, but more sat. Then, yeah, that's when we learn he got all the people's memories, and he heads to this temple-like area. It looks a little bit like the jail he was in, but I think it's a separate area. I could be wrong, though. Inside the temple, he inserts the gem into a very conveniently placed pedestal to, open a secret door. And inside that secret door, there's a Ryuzu sleeping in a tank, like it's some sort of sci-fi movie now. Regular Ryuzu shows up and says something about the Apostle of Greed, and I don't know what that means. But yeah, then he says, hey, I'd like your help if possible. They go and have a chat, a very long chat, basically. So the one in the tank, that was the original Ryuzu. I forget what her surname was. It is actually important, or seems to be sort of important. So basically, everything was Echidna. Echidna was experimenting with this thing to try and basically give herself eternal life by transferring her soul from body to body. It's sort of how I interpret it. I think that's right. Result didn't quite go well, because, their body couldn't house her soul because her soul is too strong, I guess. This Ryuzu, the main one, is actually 400 years old, so that's a legal lolly right there, folks. Get a statue, and you won't get arrested because it's fine. So then, weirdly enough, the bodily fluids, you remember them, Echidna's bodily fluid tea, that's actually relevant to the plot. So basically, because he drank that makes him an Apostle of Greed, which I mentioned earlier, which gives him the right to command all the Ryuzu copies. So basically now he's got an army of little lolly minions to do his bidding. Garfield also went through all this, I guess, and got a drink or something from Echidna. And that's why he can also, we found, earlier he was commanding them. So he can also do it. So Subaru and Garfield are in a similar situation, it turns out. Subaru says, hey, don't tell him though, I'm going to surprise him, basically. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be like, haha, Garfield, you thought your army was going to fight me, but in fact, they're on my side. Who knows? Could be completely Josh in there. But Subaru's got another plus point. He's got another tool he can make use of, I guess, which I feel bad calling her that, but that's sort of what she is for the purposes of this argument. So then Subaru asks why her surname is different from the original Ryuzu's, and she says basically, hey, preference and everything, and then asks me that question the day after tomorrow. I thought that was sort of weird. Ask me that question the day after tomorrow? What would that have to do with anything? I'm not entirely sure, unless it's like a thing to do with like marriage. Like, hey, I took my husband's surname from 400 years ago. Maybe I could be wrong on that. She was being very vague about it. She just said preference, basically. So what can you say? Amelia spooks Subaru on his way back. He has the very funny face. It was a funny face, trust me. He says, hey, you look like a fairy because she's standing in the light. And she's just like, how dare you? Because a fairy is actually like an evil spirit. And Subaru is like, damn it, cultural differences. And it was a funny Subaru, I'll give you that. She couldn't sleep because of the whole situation. She wishes Puck was there, and Subaru's like, I gotta do this now. Basically, Subaru admires how much she doesn't run away and how he believes in her, and he's finally able to say all this stuff, and it's the encouragement she needs. And you can tell, she's like, thanks Subaru, I think I'll be able to do the trial now. Probably, that's how I see it going. She'll be able to do the trial because Subaru has given her the courage that she needs this time. Good job, Subaru, you're solving all the problems. Things are coming up Subaru this time. Everything does seem to be going remarkably well for Subaru in this run. Subaru goes back to his room to sleep, and Otto says, hey man, if you ever need any help or someone to talk to, I'm here for you, man. And Subaru's like, okay man, sure, and then go to sleep. The next morning, Subaru's heading back to the mansion by himself. He writes Amelia a letter basically saying, don't worry, I got this, I'll be back. And, fair enough. But, however, he's also accepted this probably won't be the time he, does it. He completes the game, basically. No, he's probably going to die again and restart. But he's wrote the letter basically to just in case, Hopefully maybe his checkpoint would have moved like a day or so forward. So he's got this good start he had. That would be nice. gonna do as many tests as he can at the mansion. He's like, all right, how many times? What do I need to do to see what I can get away with? Basically, Garfield stops him. Subaru asks, hey, why didn't you do anything about my smell yesterday? Because I know I smell, you know I smell, I know you know I smell. So why didn't you do anything yesterday? Is that inconvenient for you? And Garfield gets all mad, and Subaru's like, you're so easy to read, man. I'm like, he's going to rip his head off if he keeps this up. He's smirking and everything. Garfield, though, does realize he was testing him, and he's like, what is your problem, man? I could literally, like, rip your arms off and beat you to death with them. What are you trying to pull? Subaru promises, hey, I'm not going to do anything bad. I know I smell, but I'm a good guy because I love Amelia. I'm going to do what I can for her. That's all I care about. And he says, yeah, Garfield, I'm going to find out your secrets too. And Garfield looks like he's panicking at this point. He's like, what are you, but no. And then Subaru, what else does he say? What I don't know is what I'll learn, basically. But like, hey, yeah, I don't know anything yet, but I'll find out. It's good stuff. And then we end on a bit of a note. Garfield's like, you have no idea what it's like. And Subaru's like, I know exactly what it's like. I saw hell. I know hell. And then he's like, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it so that I'm the only one who sees hell. Basically saying, we're going to get the perfect run through this. And no matter how many times I die, basically, we're gonna do this right. No one else is it's gonna be perfect for everyone except me, because I'm gonna die like 27 times. But everyone else, they're gonna have a good time, Garfield. And Garfield looks at him just a bit like, okay, man, and lets him go. Basically, because I mean, he's like a completely different Subaru, and I think Garfield would realize that. Subaru's faces, he was stern this episode. He was on point. Good stuff, Subaru. Wait, we're not quite done. Personally, I thought that was an alright place to end it, but no, we're not done yet. So Subaru goes back to the mansion. He's back at the mansion, tells Petra and Frederica to, hey, go hide in the village, basically, while I deal with the stuff in the mansion. Flirting going on. I call it flirting between all three of them. That's what it is. He owes Petra a date. That's fine. Subaru, you're going to get FBI'd, but hey, you made your bed, now you lay in it, and that's what I'm saying. Basically, he says, I'll join them when I can. What's Subaru going to do? He's going to get Beatrice. So, then she seems to be expecting him, and seems like she knows he's here to make a contract, so they're going to make a contract together. Beatrice is going to become Subaru's spirit animal? Not spirit animal, spirit familiar, like Puck is to Amelia. I guess Beatrice is going to be to Subaru? I could be wrong there, but that's sort of how I envision it going. Maybe not exactly the same, but hey, it'll be fun, you know, get Beatrice out of the library once in a while, other than to eat. Good stuff there. It'd be weird seeing her out and about. And then I guess Subaru can, sounds harsh to say, use Beatrice to fight Elsa and, you know, sort out stuff Sanctuary if he needs to as well. Yeah, so basically, again, it's Subaru getting another tool, and I hate calling them tools, but I'm just, the purpose of this, the tools. It's a good episode. That was where we ended proper. Boy, it feels weird. We're getting near we're near the end, you know, in inverted commas. We're not actually near the end, but what do you call it? The midpoint, the mid-season finale, I guess. What are the chances they end on a proper cliffhanger? So we have to come back and we're hating them. We're like, I hate you. Why'd you do that? You know? Who knows? It was a solid episode, I thought anyway. But what was my favourite part of said episode? Well, let's find out. So normally for my favourite part of the episode, I have a little clip thing here showing what it was. However, recently I've been getting a lot of copyright claims because of that. So it's gone. I'm sorry. Don't blame me. Blame Japan, or at least the companies that don't understand fair use. But that's not what we're here. What we're here for is my favourite episode. Now, what it is, it's not exactly a moment. It's more of a change, if that makes sense. So this whole episode, Subaru's been more proactive instead of just waiting to die, basically. He's like, right, gotta find stuff out. He's pulling faces, like stern faces. He's great, Subaru. Serious Subaru is a seriously cool dude. I don't know what I was going for there, but it works. I like that he's finally, you know, not to say we've not been going, but now we're going. You know, Subaru's actively got a plan, or the beginnings of a plan, I guess it's fair to say. So that is good. I'm on board with that. So I presume that was the end of, you know, this was a good episode, as I said. I presume next week is going to be, we'll get Subaru's probably going to get Beatrice on his side somehow. He's got to say them lines that Roswell fed to him. And then I think they might have a showdown with, what's her name, Elsa? Yeah, I think we're going back to the mansion next week. That is something I definitely think. But who can say? Well, light novel readers, but that's not a fun answer. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing and stuff for more reviews. I will see you next week for another episode of this. Take care, and bye guys.